Welcome to the SFWA Quarterly Open Mic, sponsored by the Poetry Committee. I'm Gwynne Garfinkle, and I'm delighted to share this space with you to celebrate poetic voices in our community. Um, our June 2025 featured poet is Marissa Lingen. I'm very excited to read her first poetry reading. Marissa Lingen is a science fiction and fantasy writer, essayist, and of course poet who lives in the Minneapolis area with her family. Her work has appeared in Uncanny, Strange Horizons, and many more. She has an intense fondness for tisans, botanical jewelry, and movements. Take it away, Marissa.
Thank you so much for having me. As Gwynne said, this is my first poetry reading. I've read my prose um, a bunch of times, but only ever thrown in poetry as spice. So this is the first time it's taking center stage, and I'm really excited. So the first one I'm going to share with you is called Dante on the Metro. Beatrice dropped him at Station de la Concorde. No thought in his head for a banlieue train. They'd guided him through all three realms, of course. But this loop of limbo was different, brighter. Newspapers on the floor in four languages, weary workers leaning against rare seats, students reading Virgil with barely a finger to the pole, for balance, children wide-eyed at the feet. What sustenance does a soul find on the orange line? Are there chocolatines left at this hour in the little shop? The poet's understanding breathes it in. This seat reserved for those in need. Stand back from the doors. Let another enter. Make room. Steady your neighbor. What is more divine than this? The wheels beneath us turn our separate wills. For this moment, to shared purpose, neighbors' comfort, and a safe road forth. The poet has heard an echo, his fellow travelers have not yet, of the last trumpet, but tonight the first notes announce every station for the common man. Three notes rise, together home through the night. So, as I said, first poetry reading, I'm just gonna keep diving in and giving you poems, I guess. This one's Chalk and Carbon. Long-distance relationships are hard. I in the geared and rackety Holocene, you in the green and humid Cretaceous, reaching out through granite and long receded sea. You send a precious last pterosaur with your news. I wonder if the pigeons will last long enough to spare one in return. But we are together in our bones, together in our roar. I know the startling brilliance of your feathers, but also your inmost essential shape. You cradle my mammalian entrails with care, and in chalk and carbon, in everything that lasts and all that falls away, we are for each other in the teeth of space and time. This one is Panthalassa, and I don't know if you're familiar, but a lot of people know Pangaea, the primordial first continent that was just one continent. Panthalassa is its ocean, when it was one ocean. So, in the gap between hospitable and hostile lies home. None of us an honored guest in these green original waters. None welcomed with pomp and fanfare, but family returning without a splash. We, beside the Fusilines and Ammonoids, our cousins, we, damp, confused descendants of this warm and fractured age, dip a toe beneath the waves, searching for the unity of tides, of cells, the ancient brine provides its children. So we're kind of going back and forth in time here with the fossils and Panthalassa. So this one is rewilding time. They told us not to try. You'll only make things worse with your earnest time machine. Let the past stay past. Besides, each detail now surviving is precious. The butterfly, the hurricane, treasure both. And we do, avidly. Each choice is a path. Then let us have a bramble, a thicket of timelines. Let us make all the choices. This universe will be a haven for calip fritillaries, that one for wood's cyad, another for the jellyfish tree. Let us sow choice like apple seeds. Let futures blossom, heady and rich, time bouquets. The multiverse is infinite, and there is always room to grow. Revelations of the Artificial Dryads. It's been a long war. Palm oil, Dutch elm, emerald ash borer, countless enemies, mostly ourselves. Our first attempts to win back the trees, haphazard at best. Seed scattered, lost on indifferent soil. Later ones better, but still confused. What is this word, community? Who needs it? Surely each root ball, an island, as we certain are, felled or flourishing in itself, as we feel certain we do. The green walls had half risen, faltering, growing despite our faults, before we fully learned the lesson of the nurse logs. We are in this together, from the smallest to the fallen, all and always, passing nutrient and information, thriving each with each, superorganism. Having beaten them, we found a need to join them. First chlorophyll in the skin, more a symbol than a foodstuff. Green spots on pink, brown, or golden. Internal leaves for the tree-hearted, then the deeper modifications, reaching into the older genes, cracking the codes, so that digging our toes into their loam helps us pass what we've learned, back and forth to the allies we should never have lost. Our souls call down, rhizome. They whisper back, rise up. I didn't know this was in my pile, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. Um, this is a pair of poems from my GPS, from befriending my GPS. They're travels with friend robot. I don't know where I am. It all looks like West Michigan to me. But friend robot says, stay to the left, avoid the debris. Here's a bell to remind you, your mother loves you. Take the next exit. Humans have been here before, though not you. I know the way. This Dollar General is the proper one to pass, though it looks like the others. This bell means your friend wrote a poem. Be at ease. You may hare off across the fields, but it will gain you nothing. Stay steady. All will be well. You have a compass, the sun, the lake, your notebook, 2 yellow apples, and now you have me. Your family waits there safe for your arrival. Which was followed by Travels with Friend Robot 2. Friend Robot is confused in these latitudes, sleeps often, wakes fractious. Where are we? What's happening? This is not where you said you'd stop. I don't know these people. I can't find my friends. The sun stays overhead so long, and I can't help. It is my turn to soothe. Here is your tether. Though confused, you are not powerless. I will show you rocks and moose, so many trees. We still have the lake, the compass, yellow apples, my notebook. My mother still loves me. My friend writes poems without the ringing of your bell. Sleep softly, friend robot, and in the city I will tell you tales of the animate north. All right, we have shifted out of the science fiction component of this reading and into the fantasy, I think. Like other girls. I miss my scales and my sisters, but so does every girl I meet on land. Uprooted from their farms, where they grew in a school of cousins, who could say one girl's name to her when her own voice failed? Yes, I am like the other girls. When the powers don't hear me, like them in our painful steps toward destinations we're not sure we seek anymore. My soul is sea foam like theirs, evaporating without a trace, no matter what lives we've saved or created or enriched. My sisters return with a knife to press into my hand to save my tail, and I know, whatever ending I choose, I am in good company. The Gorgon comes out of retirement. I wrote this one for my friend Fran Wild. The 80s were a hard decade. Her snakes standing punk straight, constant threats. On every soapbox, a future statue. Then the relief of walls coming down, cake and punch, a watch, off-key singing, for she is a jolly good. Snakes were nervous. But it felt good to slip through crowds, silk-scarved, unobserved, let them solve their own heroes. Now so many cold springs later, ships sinking, empires self-immolating, she casts her gaze abroad once more. Time to make some new monuments? Marble can be toppled. Okay, so that one was for Fran Wilde, and this one is for another of my favorite poets, but a slightly more distant one. It is W.H. Auden. It's called Surveilling Icarus. Suffering we still have, as you well understood. Green waves ringed with white peaks, ships sailing on without regard to martyrdom. Brilliant sun warming the waters, illuminating nothing, unless there is a watcher seeking illumination. You loved machines, and I can promise you, we have them. Greater and more abundant than you dreamed, my tinkerer forebear, my modern scald, beyond ticking gears. They observe the fall of the sparrow, the legs of a hero disappearing under the sea. In this age of drones, none of it goes unrecorded, none of it heeded. You knew about love and about perishing. You understood indifference. We elevated it not to art, but to science. Carefully calibrating the satellites, all areas covered, none relevant. We hear the splash, and more, our drones record it. We can always go back to it later. Wax melts, feathers fall, beloved uncle. Surveillance improves each time we see what happened, what exactly happened, what zoomed in, pixelated tragedy, what O-ring leaked, what heat shield disintegrated. We have the data. If only someone had told us what to do with it. You glance at Bruegel, raise a sardonic eyebrow, place a consoling hand on Daedalus's shoulder. The ship sails on. I think when you hear this, it will be no surprise that I wrote it in 2020. Um, just because I could not text with death. Please text us stop if you no longer wish to receive this apocalypse. Your subscription will continue, but your feedback is important to us. Text 1 if you object to its spread in wild animals, cf. white-tailed deer. Text 2 if your animal objection is domestic, house cats et al. Text 3 if you have individual human concerns you would like to express, such as aunt dying alone and terrified, old friend struggles to walk or control heartbeat, etc. 4 is the number to press for more general thrashing existential rage. 444444 is not a valid message. Please try your sorrow again. So yeah, we can have, I think, just a little apocalypse in the middle as a treat, just a few. So this one is the plural of apocalypse, and it's for my friend Ari. We write each other memos from our separate eschatons, flood to fire, loss to drought, cancerous overgrowth to slow crumbling. We reach our disparate endings at a dash, staggered starts, no podium. We send reassurance. The wolf has not yet eaten the sun here. There's time, though maybe not much, to blow a different horn, burn a different bridge, reach a different Ragnarok. If not together, at least allied, at least connected. So this one I wrote for my friend Sonia. Not every poem is for a friend, but a lot of them are. And Sonia was at the time starting a new magazine, which we all now know as Deadlands. She was the poetry editor there for a while and asked me for some dead poems. So this is what you get. Oh, the other news here is that my degree was not in English, it was in nuclear physics. So some of my influences come that direction. It's called Oppenheimer in Valhalla. An enterprising chooser of the slain thought to select him, not death, as he had feared, but surely her bondsman, therefore to stay and fight among the bright blades his own way. Haber agreed readily. Nobel was relieved to see the wounds spring back healed each night, all forgiven at the feast. They had seen sad-eyed warriors before. Robert, chewing his pipe stem, nerves still jangled, despite the end of breath, declined. Was knowledge, hardest won war, to fragment and fail every nightfall? No, time's arrow was too dear, and he had stood shoulder to shoulder once with Teller and LeMay on Order's side. Never again. The Valkyrie frowned, but then would he oppose the Einherjar? Would his black holes draw him into the swirl of chaos one last time, to join the Jotuns at Ragnarok? Again, no. The battles of the world remain, but not for this mind's devising. Neither entropy's soldier nor its foe, but grieving witness to the final fission. All right, this is the very newest one of this set. It's called Self-Portrait Absent. I know what I look like. I'm wrong, but I know. I've substituted my mother's jaw for mine, my godfather's nose, the almost, the looks likes, the not quites. I don't hang my own picture because I know, wrong, what it would tell me. I know because I was there in the midst of them all, anxious, impatient, ready for the picture to be over. I have substituted birch limbs, owl eyes. I am made of my family, all of it. Wrong, still true. So the next couple are family poems in their own way that then we'll just start now and we'll see how it goes. Identity. Okay, but what's Sami? Sometimes I take a breath, make myself say the word lap, then half the time they still don't know. I've said it for nothing. Sometimes I find a way to say, in the far north, so they understand, but don't care. Once I told a small child, the reindeer people, sweetheart, and I saw in his widening eyes his sudden, fervent belief in Arctic shapeshifters. Santa's werewolves. Yes, that's us. The antlers are the hardest to manage at first, but after 2 full moons, maybe 3, we learn to spring unafraid over starlit fields, slip into snowy forests, browse a neighbor's garden, then disappear. For decades, my grandmother hid this from me, but now I know my own velvety snout, my sturdy hooves. I changed shape in an instant. So we found out that my family has Sami ancestry as well as ethnic Norwegian. And so that was that poem, and it's also this one. It's Aurora. My people see you there, souls of the ancestors, in every shimmer and flash of the lights. We are warned to cover our heads, lest our family spirits catch in our hair. But tangle, my green-souled father, braid into me pink fire of my grandmother. I am your faithful monopole, undaunted by city lights, strange and lonely but constant, shaking long locks to draw you close to me for just a few hours more. So 1 iron egg and 6 golden is inspired by the creation story told in the Kalevala. So you're getting a lot of northern poems because I'm a very northern person. So a bird begins it, wings like inky brush strokes, eyes of gold. These 7 eggs she left me. Featherless I brood over them. What will come of this first gift? Why do I burn so hot for something more than wind and water? Is breaking the only beginning I can muster? They coalesce, but I am still shattered, scattered, undone by unexpected stars. So much beauty, 6 times gilded, but I, my mind diverted, wonder only what the seventh strength forebodes. So yeah, the world in Kalevala is made up of it's the hatching of 6 golden eggs and 1 iron one, and they don't explain it. They don't explain much of anything in the Kalevala. They just tell you, and you get to make your own sense of it or your own poetry of it if that's what you want to make instead. This one is The Weird of Ratatosk. Kin dies, cattle dies, even the gods themselves must one day die, in details known in song and poem. But never does mead, nor thread, nor verse foretell the fate of one small messenger. Light foot, sharp tooth, swift chatter, what end awaits the small one in the wind age, wolf age? What acorns of knowledge, kernels of magic, in his rip-deep cache protect him? Horse and serpent, eagle and raven, know their last days ahead. Ratatosk alone hoards his own weird, secreting away dropped pieces of wisdom, to shelter, to survive, to renew a place for the small clever things in the cracks of the broken world. So clearly I was thinking about Ratatosk the Squirrel Messenger, because I ended up with a couple of poems there, and this is uh, this is the second one. Lost on a World Tree. The squirrel is less help than you might think. No Virgil he, a mischief and a gossip. He would send you to the serpent for a laugh. The eagle is no better. He knows, but does not tell. You must find your way by the fissures in the bark, each furrow leading from world to unmarked world. If you come to mist, you must breathe it in. Warm your hands by chance won fire. This is not the hall you intended to find, and these are other heroes than your own. Embrace them. Though their word fame is gone, they have eons' experience of putting each other back together. And in these branching worlds, whatever skill you sought, that is what you need most. Mistletoe Theodicy. On the fourth night, she set out alone, on snowshoes, and in her pack, cardamom and mistletoe, in case she needed to kill a god, or make him tea. They told her it never hurt to be prepared, but this knowledge stung her skin more than the cold, more than the silence, broken only by the crunch of her steps. That 3 nights of plague preceded this, her village behind her, suffering. The gods had to be ignorant, helpless, indifferent, worst of all malicious, or dead. She who had scattered her nearest, her dearest, dimming the snow with ash, went forth prepared to bury her gods one way or another. Preparation can ache. Thank you so much for inviting me to share this time with you and to share these poems with you. I appreciate it.